Has anyone ever read all of the terms and conditions before checking the box and clicking accept? I'm willing to take a bet that that's also the same number of times you've read the package inserts in the medications and biologics that your doctor prescribes for you or other members of your family. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But I don't think that many people do. And I didn't. Before 2020, I had no reason to even question that these things weren't safe and effective. My mom gave them to me and my sisters. Why wouldn't I give them to my child and continue taking them myself without question? Right? They're safe and effective. They've done all sorts of testing on them. Guys in white lab coats and with degrees of doctor and MPH and PhD and all these letters and things that, I'm not a doctor. What do I know? But of course, 2020 changed all that, and now I see the very obvious reason that we should be reading these package inserts and asking questions of our doctors, of the federal agencies that are supposed to regulate these things. And perhaps the most helpful person for me along this journey has been my friend Elizabeth, who is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes. She's been on the channel before. You know her, Lady Be Good, owner of Queen Bee's Pharmacy. She's a mom, an activist, a business owner, and most recently, she has been investigating these package inserts. She's been asking the questions because she noticed that some medications or biologics, they're two separate things, and we'll get into that, have more testing than others. And she was just curious why that is. And so she, of course, started by asking her doctor, who recommended her to the CDC. And from there, she got recommended to the FDA. And then they pushed her off to the manufacturer, and she followed up with Merck. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about these package inserts, specifically section 13.1, and we'll get into exactly what that section is. But generally speaking, it has a series of very important tests that would let you know if these things are actually safe. And you're going to see that a lot of these things that we've been sold as safe and effective don't have these tests. So how can they possibly be deemed safe? But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Before we bring in Elizabeth, though, I do want to highlight that she is a business owner. And one of the best ways that you can support her work as an activist and independent journalist, and just as a mom living this life, is by supporting her business, Queen Bee's Farmacy. So you can go over to queenbeespharmacy.com. Of course, she's a beekeeper. She's got the honey share. So that is always a go-to. And another must-have for me is the tallow, both the cooking tallow and the body cream face tallow. You can use in your hair. You can use it everywhere. Highly recommend. And she hand makes it using old style perfumery. I think I said that word, perfumery. I think you know what I'm saying, like perfume, like how they make perfume. She uses that method for infusing her tallow. So again, highly recommend. You can use my code TeachingLiberty to save 15% off your entire order. 15% off your entire order over at queenbeespharmacy.com. And without any further ado, let's bring in Elizabeth.
On any medication or biologic, there is something called a package insert, and we're looking specifically at 13.1. Can you explain what 13.1 is and give us a little summary of this rabbit hole that you went down on and what
Yeah,
we can expect to see in our conversation together here today?
I was inquiring about 13.1, which is the study of carcinogens, mutagenic effects, and infertility. 13.1 is listed in every single drug manufacturer product and biologic product. Although some products, mostly biologics, do not contain these studies. So my rabbit hole when I saw the Flonase was basically, why does Flonase have information on a 13.1? That just goes up our nose. But then the biologics that get into our babies, our children, a lot of them, there's like, I don't know, 72 plus on the schedule now. None of them. I think I found one. I don't want to say none of them. I think I found one, and it was the study of infertility, but it was only done on rabbits, and it was only done on a flu quadrivalent something or other. That was the only one I found study for 13.1. Now, I have not gone through every single one on the on the schedule. We're just going to stick to HPV and the Flonase, because it was much easier to just discuss one against the other, instead of going into the whole of everything. So the problem that I was running into calling different government body for information, it's how you ask the question. You have to ask questions in a certain way to get the answers that you're looking for. And people on the other end of the lines, especially with our government bodies, they're trained to say jargon that's repetitive, repeated, da 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 da. I don't want repetitive.
Also, I mean, and I can't say this 100% certain, but just from listening to it, they just sounded like a kind of a call service, some of them, right? They didn't sound, especially like when you called the CDC, I believe Judy was at the CDC.
Judy, love Judy.
Judy just sounds like, she's read some information. She probably has a script, like she types some answer into something into the computer, and it gives her kind of like a script to read. Yes. She doesn't sound like she really knows this information.
No,
like
no.
Judy is very expert, or a doctor might know it.
Correct. Well, to be fair, doctors and experts don't know it, because I've asked them too. I've talked with pharmacists and I've talked with other people, so they don't know either.
Right, but I feel like they can like spin the words a little bit differently than some of these people who are just sort of like literally, they're just like, okay, this person said these keywords, and it gives them sort of that script back that when you call
very scripted back,
or internet or whatever it is.
But moving forward with the phone calls, I started to call the CDC first. That was where I went first to ask and inquire about the package inserts. They referred me to the FDA. I got through to the FDA and the drug department at the FDA, which is a separate department as biologics. I then got a call into the biologics department. By the time I got through the calls to the FDA, they then referred me to the biologic manufacturer, because nobody could answer as to what 13.1 is, where it's listed, where the studies are, if the studies were even done, until I got to the manufacturer.
All right, so let's get into the first phone call. This is the one to the CDC, and then after each call, we'll kind of do a little debrief and then bridge people into the next call.
If you are a member of the media, press 3. For all other questions, press 4. To repeat this menu,
press 4.
Press star key. For questions about importing a dog into the United States, press 1. For questions about COVID-19, press 2. For all other questions, press 3.
Press
to
3.
repeat this menu, please hold for the next available representative. Our agents are not medical professionals and cannot provide medical advice.
Oh, we don't need any sort of medical advice.
Insurance.
Thank you for calling CDC Info. My name is Judy. How may I help you?
Hi, Judy. How are you today?
Fine. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I'm calling with some questions. Do you have a minute to answer some questions?
Sure. What can I help you with?
Okay, so thank you. So I'm going over a couple of different, like I have a child that's school age, and obviously, we have a vaccine recommended schedule that we need to abide by for compliance to get into public schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my child got a prescription the other day for like Flonase. She was having like a little congestion, and I was reading the package insert in the Flonase, and it looks like all pharmaceutical companies, they have something called 13.1 in all package inserts for pharmaceutical products, and that tells the consumer, me, you, everybody, if the product has been studied for like cancer or DNA altering or infertility, right? So I compared the Flonase package insert to that of like my daughter needs to get like I think the HPV coming up soon, and they don't study anything for the HPV shot in 13.1 for the vaccine info. They don't study anything for cancer. They don't study anything for DNA altering. So I was just wondering, is that not something that they study for vaccines, but they study for regular pharmaceutical products? And if they do study 13.1 for vaccines, is there, and it's not listed in the manufacturer package insert, is there another place where I can find that information?
Let me make sure I understand your question. Your child is school age, needs to be vaccine, a child school age vaccine schedule, and you got a prescription for Flonase.
Right, because she had an upper respiratory thing going on and congestion and sinus congestion. So I always read the package inserts, but I compared the package insert from the Flonase to the vaccine that she needs to get next. And there's more studies done, it says in the package insert, on the Flonase than the vaccine. And I'm just curious, are those studies done, or am I missing something in the package insert? Because it's listed on the CDC and the FDA website. But I'm not seeing on 13.1 that the vaccine, the HPV vaccine, hasn't been tested for cancer, DNA altering, or infertility. It's listed in the package insert, but it is not, it says that it's never been studied or evaluated. So I just wanted to confirm that that vaccine was never studied or evaluated for, cancer, DNA altering, or infertility, because it's my kid. I want to make sure she can make babies when she's older if she wants.
Okay, so you want to know if the HPV, which is Hotel Papa Victor, have any studies been done for the 13.1?
Yes, ma'am.
Cancer or any other studies?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd be happy to pull that information up for you. And can you do me a favor? I'll make sure I have the right spelling. Flonase. Spell that for me.
Yeah, it's Flonase, Flonase. It's a nasal like decongestion or anti-inflammatory for like sinus congestion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And thank you so much for your time, Judy.
Oh, I'm glad to help. May I place you on a brief hold while I pull up my CDC reference just to get an answer to your question?
You sure can.
Hold on to me.
So I guess for those of you that want to call, 143 is how you get somebody on the phone. And then I don't think Judy's going to be able to find the information we're looking for.
Thank you so much for holding. I am still pulling up additional information regarding the HPV vaccine. May I place you back on hold, please?
Sure, and Judy, I'm specifically looking for studies for the HPV for 13.1, which is listed in any manufacturer package insert from any pharmaceutical company, is the study of carcinogen, cancer, mutagenic effects, which is DNA altering, and then infertility, which is obviously the study of fertility. So yeah, I'm looking for that information for specific for the HPV vaccine. Thank you.
All right, I'm placing you back on hold.
Thank you so much, Judy. So we're at 8 minutes so far for this phone call. So a lot of moms are busy. They're busy. Not a lot of moms have time to make these calls and sit on hold and get this information.
Thank you so much for being patient.
Sure.
I did pull up the HPV, that CDC vaccines and immunization, and I'm still reading here, trying to find a 13.1, and I don't see that.
Say that one more time.
I pulled up the CDC website regarding the HPV.
Right. Are you looking at the manufacturer package insert?
No.
Okay, well that's what needs to be looked at, because the website for the HPV vaccine is not the study of the HPV vaccine, which is the actual package insert. So I'm looking for the information that states in the manufacturer package insert in 13.1, which all pharmaceutical products state this. 13.1, the study of cancer, mutagenic effects, or infertility. So is there no study for the HPV vaccine for this?
Okay. The information that I'm looking at says to call the local state health department, or you can visit the FDA website. But I don't see anything on here regarding the package study.
Right. So it's not the package study, it's the vaccine package insert that should show all the studies that were done on the vaccine. Yes, it shows it for all other pharmaceuticals. So what I'm asking, and I've been on all these websites. This is why I'm calling the CDC, because you guys recommend these shots. So like, if you're recommending these shots, shouldn't you know where I can go for information to find this? Because you're directing me right back to where I've already been. And I already know that what the information that is stated is that these shots were never tested for cancer, DNA altering, or infertility. So I'm calling the CDC to say, hey, is there some other thing that I'm missing here? Because 13.1 isn't listed in the HPV package insert. Is it listed someplace else? And you're giving me the same exact information. So I'm questioning now, maybe it just doesn't exist. Because if you don't have it and the CDC doesn't have it, the FDA doesn't have it, wouldn't you guys have those reports for this?
It shows you said you've been to the FDA. Did you give them a call?
No, they're going to be next, because it shouldn't be this hard for a parent. Like, these vaccines are heavily pushed on parents, just to be clear. Like, it's like a war zone when you go in. They want to shoot our kids up with like 20 shots at once. And at the end of the day, like, as a parent, this information should be like locked and loaded front and center, so I'm able to make an informed decision about whether I want to participate in this for my child or not. But it just seems weird to me that a vaccine that they're pushing for cancer is now is not being studied for cancer. Like, it's not listed anywhere. That should be like one of the first things that they talk about. Like, yes, we studied this. No, it's not going to cause infertility on your child, and no, it's not going to alter my child's DNA at all. Like, if there's no study of that, though, nobody can guarantee that. So that's why I'm looking for the study.
Okay. Hold on. One word for a second. Hold on.
Thank you so much, Judy. Okay, so I want to show everyone. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025. This way we know when the date of that we're making this call. Seems crazy that it's 2025 and, parents can't get this information easily and readily available to them. Not online and not in phone calls. I'm going to make sure I write and compose this letter. Oh, here she is. Hey, Judy.
Thank you for calling CDC Info. My name is Maria. In case we are disconnected or a callback is necessary, can I have your first name and a good callback number?
Sure. My name is Elizabeth, and my phone number
I understand that you are looking for studies on the HPV vaccine.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Being tested for cancer.
So, well, right. So every single pharmaceutical package insert has a 13.1. It's listed for Flonase. It's listed for amoxicillin. It's listed for, just basic generic drugs. My father takes something for blood pressure medication. I checked his package insert. There's a 13.1. And that is the study for carcinogens, mutagenic effects, which is DNA altering, and then infertility. So when I go and I look at the HPV package insert, because that's what's coming up for my child next, it says never been studied. I think there's like a study that they did on the rabbits for infertility, etc., but there's nothing for the cancer study or the DNA altering. And I just found that interesting, because if it's a shot for cancer, how are they not doing that test on the cancer? You know what I'm saying? So like, I just want to know if that's not listed in the package insert. I've looked on the FDA website. I'm looking on the CDC website. I've looked on the HPV website. I don't see those studies had been done anywhere. So I'm just wondering, as I'm just a mom, am I missing something? Can you direct me to where these studies have been done?
Okay, so just to confirm, you're looking for the 13.1 studies that have been completed for the HPV vaccine with regard to testing for carcinogens and DNA altering.
Mutanogenesis, yes. Thank you.
I'll be glad to look into that for you. May I place you on a brief hold?
Sure. And what was your name again?
It's Maria.
Maria, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome, thank you for holding. I'll place you on hold now.
Thanks, Maria.
Transfer you.
It's now been 19 minutes.
Thank you again for holding. Okay, so according to my resources, CDC does not test, evaluate, or endorse consumer products, and the product safety and efficacy testing is under the purview of other federal government agencies, including the FDA, who ensures the safety, efficacy, and security of human biological products, including vaccines. So they would be applicable as far as contacting with regard to your question. I do have a direct contact number for them. I know you said you visited the website.
Great.
They may be able to provide more information.
Great.
If you speak with someone. So I can provide that number for you when you're ready.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. It is 1-888-463-6332.
Okay, well, thank you for redirecting. I appreciate that. As a concerned citizen, I find it a little weird that I have to go through. I've been on hold and all of this. I've been 22 minutes. It took me just to be redirected to the FDA when I was very clear about my question. So the average American working, well, I'm just saying the average American trying to access this information is working, is busy, et cetera, et cetera. This is really important information that should be extremely accessible for any American parent making these decisions, don't you think?
Yes, I do apologize about that.
Yeah, but this is not, you guys are there as the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, correct? Like, you guys should have this, like, right next to your wall. Like, this is a question. I'm sure I'm not the only parent that calls with questions. Vaccines are a hot topic, a button, and it just makes it a little bit more suspect and suspicious when y'all don't have all your information and ducks in a row and you just push it off on other entities. So I'm just going to leave you with that. I hope you have a beautiful day and God bless.
Okay, do you have any additional questions?
Oh, no. I'm going to go call the FDA now and ask the same questions. I'm going to see what they have to say, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of this, because as a parent, it's very concerning you guys don't have answers over at the CDC. But thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And thank you for calling CDC Info. Please stay on the line for a brief survey and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
We got Judy. Judy seemed like just an answering service. After Judy and I talked for a while, we got to another woman. I forgot her name. I think it was Maria. Maria was very, what's that word? She was very on the ball, didn't miss a beat of the CDC jargon rhetoric that continues. She did not miss a beat. However, at the end of the call, which was super important, which was very low, so maybe you can make that a little bit louder somehow, she says the CDC does not endorse. They do not endorse, which is crazy to me. They do not endorse any consumer products, including, what did they say? Including biologics.
CDC does not test, evaluate, or endorse consumer products, and the product safety and efficacy testing is under the purview of other federal government agencies, including the FDA, who ensures the safety, efficacy, and security of human biological products, including vaccines.
So I found it very weird that the CDC directed me. They specifically said you should call the FDA. So I did. I called the FDA after, but I found it very bizarre that the CDC that endorses the schedule, they make the actual schedule. Okay, they recommend the drugs that go into everybody for whatever. They do not endorse. That is their legal rhetoric shared on the call to the CDC, and they directed me to the FDA. So first at the FDA, when I finally got through to somebody, I got through to, I believe the guy's name was Matt. He was in the FDA drug section. Drugs are completely separate than biologics. Okay. So I decided to ask the questions about the Flonase.
So the date is January 14th, 2025, 9:26 a.m. Calling the FDA right now. We were directed to call the FDA from the CDC yesterday regarding where the information for 13.1 is in the manufacturer package insert for the HPV vaccine specifically. So let's go. Let's call. Let's see how we do this. The number is 1-888-463-6332 is the first number we're going to be calling. We do have some other numbers. There's a Freedom of Information Act number as well.
Welcome to the Food and Drug Administration. For information about biological products such as blood and plasma products, vaccines, allergenic products, gene therapy, tissue and cellular-based therapies, press 1.
Yeah, here we go. Let's go.
Please hold while your call is being transferred.
Oh, I got hung up on. Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, we don't want to get hung up on.
If this is a life-threatening emergency, hang up and dial 911. Welcome to the Food and Drug Administration. You may find additional information while visiting our FDA website at www.fda.gov. If you are a physician calling to request the use of an investigational product, press star. To report an emergency that involves food, drugs, medical devices, dietary supplements, or cosmetics, press 1. To submit a report to FDA's MedWatch program of a serious adverse event and or a side effect that you suspect is associated with a drug, medical device, food, dietary supplement, or cosmetic, press 2. To speak with an FDA representative, press. For information about biological products such as blood and plasma products, vaccines, allergenic products, gene therapy, tissue and cellular-based therapies, press 1. Please hold while your call is being transferred.
And they hung up on me again. What I'm going to do now, because I want to make sure people don't think I'm hanging up the phone, I want to put my phone on this screen so that we can do this again. Hopefully they pick up. But this is now the second time we've called. So let me turn my video on so we can see that this is the phone that I'm calling. I know it's like focusing on me because I have it blurred. I don't want it to focus on me. I want it to focus on the phone. Let's see how we can do this. All right, let's get them back on the line. Let's figure out how to get them back on the line. And I remember what we need to press the button so we don't have to listen to the whole thing again.
If this is a life-threatening emergency, hang up and dial 911. Welcome to
Okay, so we know it's number 3.
For information about biological
No, it's
products,
number 1.
please hold while your call is being transferred.
I want to make sure that the screen doesn't go like away. So you can see. And they hung up on me again. So that's 3 times. So let's see what's going to happen now. I have to figure out. I think we're going to call. I'm going to pause this recording. I'm going to pull another number, the Information Act number, and going to try that. But I mean, 3 times calling, you just get hung up on. That does not seem like the information is readily available for the consumer to get information. Not on anything. Blood, biologics, vaccines, whatever else they listed. 3 times. So for the average American who's working, busy, doesn't really have time to do this, you really have to put the work in to just get somebody on the phone to discuss what information is missing that you're seeing. I can't even get somebody on the phone. So I'm going to pause this and we'll come back in a few minutes with a new number.
Okay, I have the number now for the Freedom of Information Act or the FDA. 301-796-3900. Let's see what happens. Let's go.
You have reached the Food and Drug Administration's Division of Headquarters Freedom of Information. If you would like our mailing address, press 1. To speak with a Freedom of Information representative, press 2. To repeat this,
Okay, hopefully this works.
please hold while your call is being transferred. Please leave a message after the tone. When you are finished, you may hang up or press 1 for special options.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I would like a call back. My number is. I decided that I'm gonna call the emergency line and see what happens.
You have reached the Food and Drug Administration's Human Foods Program Food and Cosmetics Information Center. We are currently closed. If you are calling with a question or to report a complaint about a food or dietary supplement or cosmetic product, please visit us online at
Is it a holiday?
www.gov/FCIC.
Closed today.
Available Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, excluding Thursdays from 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. and federal holidays.
Interesting. But they're closed today. Okay, well, you can't get in touch with the FDA on their emergency line either. Okay, gonna stop recording and get back to the next thing.
FDA Emergency Contact Center. Your call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance. You are being directed to the next available agent. If you are experiencing a For contacting the Emergency Contact Center, what is the nature of your emergency?
Hi, so this isn't necessarily an emergency. I've been trying to get through. Hello, can you hear me?
What is the nature of your emergency?
So what I'm saying is that this is not necessarily an emergency, but I'm trying to get a hold. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? I don't understand how you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Ma'am, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? This is insane that the FDA works this way. Do you guys actually get paid? Do you get paid for this job? Do you get paid for this job? Do you get paid for this job? Are you even a real person? You are not even a real person. I need to speak to a real person. Hello? Can I speak with somebody, please? She hung up on me. This is insane to me. You can't even call the emergency. This is insane. I feel like I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm in an Alice in Wonderland Twilight Zone right now. Hello? Oh my God, this is insane. We know she hears me. Let's hope we get a new agent that can hear and listen. Can you hear me? Great, because the last person couldn't. So this is not an emergency. I'm trying to get a hold of the FDA, and every time I call, I get hung up on before the call even gets picked up. Speak with the customer service at the FDA regarding products and information that they're neglecting to put out there for the American public. I'm trying to get information on why my Flonase has studied the 13.1 for carcinogens, mutagenic effects. Ma'am, I've been trying all morning and they keep hanging up on me. They keep hanging up on me. Oh my God. Great. Can I have Thank you so much. This is insane, guys.
Press 1. For information about human drugs, press 2. For information about medical devices or
Let's try a different button. Let's try calling about human drugs.
This office provides information on FDA-regulated drugs. If you are seeking medical advice or opinion, please call your doctor or pharmacist. For additional drug information, visit www.fda.gov/drug. If you are a physician calling for an emergency IND application, press star. If you are calling about prescription coupons or refills, press 1. If you wish to report a side effect to a drug, press 2. If you represent the pharmaceutical industry and have a question, press 3. To speak to a pharmacist concerning a human drug, press 4. To repeat this menu, press
Let's try
pound.
to speak to a pharmacist. Let's see what happens.
Your call may be monitored or recorded for quality assurance purposes. Hi, thank you for calling FDA's Division of Drug Information. Can I please get started off by getting a telephone number in case we get disconnected?
Sure.
Thank you. And may I get a name, please?
Elizabeth,
And finally, what state are we calling from today?
Pennsylvania.
All right, give me just a moment. All right, Elizabeth, how can I help you today?
Great. Thank you so much. What's your name?
My name is Dan.
Dan, nice to speak to you, Dan. So I was actually calling. I have a bunch of questions, and I had called the CDC yesterday, and they had directed me to the FDA. I don't know that I pressed the button for the exact person that I needed, because every time I press the number 1 button, because I have questions about a medication and I have a question about vaccines, I kept hitting the 1 button. I was just on hold listening to music, and then it would hang up on me. Like someone would just pick up and hang up on me. So this went on several times. So it's very, very hard to get in touch with the FDA, which, it was hard to get in touch with the CDC yesterday. And I'm just a concerned mom, and I'm trying to just gather information. And I have to tell you, like, it's very concerning to be a mom and just have basic questions and not be able to like have those answers readily available. They're not on your website, which I keep getting directed to go to all the time. So this is why I'm making such an effort to make contact with somebody. So I'm really hoping you can help direct me to get these answers that I'm looking for. So my daughter is teenage years. She's ready to get her HPV vaccine. And we just had an issue. Her face was all congested. We got a bottle of Flonase for her nasal congestion. So I'm a mom. I do my due diligence. I read the package insert of the Flonase. And in the Flonase, there's a thing that says 13.1. It says studied of carcinogenesis, mutagenesis, and infertility. And there's a bunch of studies there for the Flonase, right? I went onto the FDA website and pulled up the HPV vaccine. And the only study that's done is on a bunch of rabbits that for infertility. Like it's never been evaluated or tested for carcinogens or for mutagenesis, which is DNA altering. So I'm just wondering, and this is my big question, is 13.1 is mentioned in every single pharmaceutical manufacturer product, correct?
So when you say the phone,
Yeah.
biologics, the vaccine that's covered under biologics, that is a different department. This is specifically for drugs.
I get that.
Right.
So let's answer the questions about the drugs. So is it true or false that all package inserts from the pharmaceutical manufacturer contain an article called 13.1 where it states the studies of carcinogens, mutagenesis, and infertility? Is that correct?
Let me take a look.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time going through a lot of popular drugs off of your website and looked up the information, and every single one contains a study for 13.1. You might not do all the studies, but there's studies there, which is very weird that all the studies are not required by the FDA from the pharmaceutical company. Like they should all be studied all the time, always, especially amoxicillin, which is not. Studied for cancer, which it's given to every single baby. So how do we know amoxicillin's not giving all these babies cancer now? Because it's never been studied, or it would be listed in the package insert, right? So is there another secret place that the FDA has besides the manufacturer package insert that shares any information or tests or studies that I'm missing that are not provided in the manufacturer package insert? Is there any supplemental reading that I'm missing?
So the prescribing information, or the PI, is the most complete document that's for for labeling of medications. But let me just take a look to see if it's required. I don't know off the top of my head. Don't want to speak out of line.
Understood.
So give me just a moment to, look this up.
Thank you so much. I'll hold.
All right. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
All right. So yeah, according to the regulations, they are required to report any, toxicology or carcinogenicity, and there's one more.
Mutanogenesis
There's
and
studies of
the
yeah,
infertility.
they are required to report non-clinical pharmacology and toxicology section.
Okay, but is it required to do all those tests though? Because some, like, I just want to understand, like, because I feel like a lot of times we take drugs in America and then like all of a sudden we find out years later that like there's side effects. And I'm doing the best that I can as a parent. There's a lot of stuff out here, right? And I just, I have a lot of people, pretending like parents like me can't understand a package insert, but I'm understanding that if a package insert on 13.1 says this product has never been tested or evaluated, you guys are not hiding that study someplace else. If it was done, it would be in the package insert, correct?
Yeah, let me bring up the Flonase one.
Great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, this is definitely something you got from the pharmacy and not like over the counter. Is that correct?
This is prescribed prescriptions that you need. And like, I have a couple. I've been comparing package inserts. I'm not trying to be like a crazy person here. I have a couple different package inserts and I compare them with the ones that you have on your website. I have actual hard copies and then I go on the website. Are you saying that the doctor gets a different package insert than what's okay? I just want to make sure.
All right, so yeah, I have Fluticasone nasal spray because there is an over-the-counter Flonase and there is a prescription Flonase.
Okay.
So I'm just making sure I have the right one installed.
Okay, so 13.1.
Yeah.
Do you see that part?
Carcinogenesis, and impaired fertility.
Yes. So it tells you the test that it's done there, correct?
It tells you the information on in the study, yeah.
Okay. I don't understand what that means though. Like in
so it has data from the study.
Right, it has data from the study, but that means that the study was actually done. So is there like a way to get into that study to see like the whole enchilada of the study? Like where does one go to like read more about it? Like as a consumer, if I want, like there's a couple different nasal sprays that I can ask my doctor to spray up my nose. So if I want to pick a nasal spray, right? We have a couple pharmaceutical ones on the list. I want to find one that has had all those tests done. Like, I don't want to mess with my daughter's fertility. I don't want to mess with her DNA. I don't want to mess with any carcinogens in her body. I want to make sure all that's studied. So that's why I'm asking these questions, because I want to read the package inserts, and this information is not readily available in other pharmaceutical products.
All right, let me see. It should be in the NIH, but let me double check, okay?
Mm-hmm. So is there like, I have a question, like I hear you typing, so you're looking into things. Are you looking in the same web as I'm looking, or do you have like a secret government computer that you have different information than what I can find?
I'm looking up in the PubMed, which is available to the public.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because sometimes I feel like we get different information. And like, if you tell me that the information you're looking up is completely accessible, I'm comfortable with that. I just feel like it took a really long time to get somebody on hold. And I know like the average American is very busy. And these questions, they should be answers readily available to a busy working mom just trying to keep her kids safe. And this has been 2 days of me being on the phone, being grateful I get on the phone with someone like you. I had a great lady named Judy at the CDC. She gave me a lot of information, and now you're Dan at the FDA. I just wish it wasn't so hard to get you on the phone. Like I still am not getting full answers because the department I also need to call keeps hanging up on me. So, and not because I'm talking,
What's the number that you've been calling? Because this should be going through.
So I call the number, the regular main number. I hit number 3, and then I was hitting number 1 because biologics, this is the question I have. If the pharmaceutical company is mandated to have these 13.1 lists in here, there's only one study that I found in a 13.1 and one flu vaccine. The rest are missing 13.1. There's no studies in any of them. So I'm just curious, like,
Lots of drugs are regulated differently, which is why are accepted service.
understood. But 13.1 is a big deal when we're talking about carcinogens, altering DNA, and infertility. Like these are things I'm giving my child for entry to school and for health. And like, what if we're injecting like cancer altering DNA and then infertility stuff? Like if it's not studied, how do we know? And that's my question. Like, are these studies placed someplace else that I'm missing because it's not listed in the manufacturer package insert? And I want to have the whole enchilada before I make any conclusive decisions. I like gathering all my information. This is the first time I'm ever noticing this. So I'm just, my daughter's a teenager. I want to make sure I get her the right everything that she needs to stay healthy. You understand what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like I said, biologics is a completely different department. They have their own regulations as well.
Right.
So
I understand. It's not your department. I got you. The Flonase, right. Perfect.
It's not easy to find, but let me see if I can find it for you.
Okay, I really appreciate you taking so much time. Thanks, Dan.
Is that if I put down another hold?
Sure.
Hello, Elizabeth?
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I'm here. I had you on mute. I have dogs. Sorry. I didn't want them barking in your face. No, that's okay. I hope you came back with something.
This is learning skills. It does have information on the toxinogenicity, and mutagenesis there.
Okay, and that's more involved than what's on the package insert.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. Want to just tell me the web address, please? Thank you.
Right. So into a Google search. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, go.
So you're going to be typing into Google drug at FDA, the app being the symbol.
Okay.
Let me know when you have that up.
Drugs at FDA. I have that up.
All right. So the first link would be drugs at FDA, and that should be like approved drugs, about drug approvals and databases.
Yep.
Click on the
About. I got you. Okay.
And you see a blue box. That first link says drugs at FDA.
Yes.
All right. Click on that one.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to bring you up to the NDA, or the new drug application for Flonase.
Okay.
So into that search bar, you're going to be typing in 020121.
Now, where is, what number is that for? Like, how did you find that?
Application. That's the application number for Flonase.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the new drug application for Flonase.
Okay. So I'm here. I see do I click on this? Yep.
Yep. You see products, approval dates, and history letters.
Mm-hmm.
Click on that box that says approval dates, history letters, labels, and reviews.
I see.
And then if you go to the supplement, scroll further down, you can see that there is a review dated 12/11/1998. Do you see that?
Yeah. I see it.
Click on the review section.
Review.
It's going to bring you up to a drug approval package.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, great. So then I can read in depth. So is this for like every drug that you have, you can get more information than what's just on the package insert by doing this. You need the number though of the application number. So does that mean that somebody would need to come to you?
No, you can search up the new drug application number. With a lot of generics that are approved under ANDA, which is abbreviated new drug application, it won't have these reviews because they base a lot of the studies off of the originator, so the brand name drug.
Okay.
So typically you have to search the brand name drug to get to the NDA, or you can just type in, the brand name NDA.
Okay.
It should give you the number into a Google search.
Okay, well, Dan, thank you so much because you just gave me so much more information. I have a ton of stuff to go through now. But I really appreciate you taking the time and walking me through that. Do you have any idea if there's another number to get in touch with the biologics? Because I've called like many, many times and the phone just kept hanging up on me, and I'm hoping that they can do the same that you did for me. Just walk me through it and I'll, be happy to read it. I just want the information.
So the only number I have for CBER, which is the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, is 1-800-835-4709.
Okay, 1-800, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. 1-800-835
835
4709.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great and happy new year.
All right, you too. Take care, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, moving on to the call with the FDA for biologics, specifically because we got to that phone call too. That phone call took a little bit longer. And by the time we got to the end of the biologics call, I was then directed to the manufacturer because the FDA could not answer any questions. Now, the drug department was able to answer questions about the drugs. I thought that possibly 13.1 in biologics, this is what I thought, that I could be missing the study. I'm missing the link on the FDA website somewhere that shows me more studies just like the Flonase, because why wouldn't they have those same studies?
Hello, you have reached the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. If you are a consumer or a healthcare professional, please press 1 now. If you are a manufacturer, please press.
consumer.
Hello, you have reached the Food and Drug Administration Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. Please hold while we locate someone to take your call. If you are calling after 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time weekdays, all day on weekends and federal holidays, all requests for expanded access for emergency use for drugs, biologics, and medical devices should be directed to the FDA Emergency Call Center. Telephone 866-300-4374 or 301-796-8240. You have reached the Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, Consumer Affairs Branch. Please leave a detailed message and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth. I have questions about the package inserts. If someone could please call me back, my number is. I would really appreciate a call back. I've been trying to get a hold of somebody. I've started this call since 9:26. Anytime I call, I get hung up on. And I'm just a mom looking for some information that I feel should be readily available, whether it's on your website or through a phone call. So if someone could please get back to me, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Information or it would be, if you're interested, that would be greatly appreciated if you were willing to put those kinds of specific questions in an email to me, and then I could look a little further into it and confer with our subject matter experts as needed, just to make sure we're providing the most comprehensive answer possible.
Yeah, it's just a little I guess I don't know what the right language is that I want to use, but it's a little upsetting, I would use maybe, but not upset with you because I've had some really great conversations. But when you're looking for answers as a parent, like when you want like to put the safety first of your child, it's very hard to like I've spent 2 days now trying to get this information that should be like readily available. And it's not your fault. Like you're doing everything you can to help me and just like everyone else. And I really appreciate everyone taking so much time. But like as a parent, I'm not sure if you're a parent or not, you don't have to answer that. But as a parent, working full time, running around the school bus after kids' activities, after school activity. I said after kids, after school activities. There's a lot of running around, and this has taken me like in total 3 hours to get in touch with the CDC for them to finally defer me to the FDA. And now I feel like, and this is not your fault, you're kind of deferring me away again, and I'm still not close to the answers. And it's a very simple question. Like if the package insert states that this has not been tested or evaluated in 13.1, is it safe to say that the vaccine was never studied or evaluated for carcinogens, mutagenic effects, or infertility? That is my question, because it states the same testing in just like my Flonase, right? So I'm trying to just like understand. I get that drugs are different than biologics, but common sense would tell anybody, well, if they test the Flonase for this, why wouldn't they have these tests readily available for parents to just check for the vaccines? Especially like HPV, it's not like a mandatory thing. They would like us to get it. So, I'm kind of on the fence, and like I'm just saying, like other parents I know are under the gun. They have to get answers right away, or their kid might be dropped from school. And I'm just like, on behalf of other parents, I just feel kind of upset that like we're not like I'm not getting direct answers, so I can only imagine other people aren't. Like I called 9 times and kept getting hung up on before I called someone else and then got a different number than what's on the website to get in touch with your department. So it's just like, it's just, again, not your fault. You've done everything, like, and I'm so grateful. But like, again, I still don't have the answers, and it's 3 hours into like a whole thing. So do you think if I call like the manufacturer, and I'm gonna write a letter, and I'm gonna send a letter to the CDC so that I can give you guys a chance to respond like through the mail, like we'll do snail mail, like because then maybe you guys could send me something to read, right? And I'll put my email on there so you guys can get in touch back. And if you want to send me your information, I'll happy to like, CC or BCC you on the info so that we know we already had this conversation.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be, you could certainly do that. And I was just going to say you could send an email directly to us, just kind of explaining, the concerns that you have. And that way, like I said, I can try to confer with the subject matter experts in these areas to see if there's more clarification that they can provide in terms of, what type of testing is required to be done, more specifically than what I might refer you to the general information on our website. So that would be, if you wouldn't mind sending the questions to us, at the FDA,
right.
In addition to whatever, correspondence you want to have with CDC, I could give you our email address and you could just send that right to us. And it just helps to have it in writing. That way nothing gets lost in translation as we're reviewing it.
I totally agree. So what is the email?
So let me pull that up right now. And I really appreciate that. And I understand that, you've been having to work at this for a while, so I appreciate it.
Like, I mean, I am accessing all the information on your website. I've been all over it, and I've been all over the CDC, but it's not answering these questions, and nobody in the area, even though that you guys have these package inserts on the website and on, display, it's kind of like nobody can really answer what that means. When I talked with the drug side of the FDA, remember I said they had directed me to a place. So I was like really hoping that the Biologics Center would be able to direct me to more studies, more info. But again, okay, I'm ready for the email. Mm-hmm. 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 FDA. Wait, at FDA. Okay. Henry Sam. Okay. Right. I got you. Okay. OCOD at FDA.hhs.gov.
Generally, we can't really elaborate what's written in the documents, but I would definitely encourage you to mention that in the email, and then we can look into it further just to see if there's anything more specific or in terms of more detail about vaccine testing in general that I could provide for you that might be helpful. So please feel free to provide, as much detail about the questions you have as possible, and I'm more than happy to look into that further for you.
So originally my question was just regarding like the HPV vaccine, but now like my ears are kind of perked as a mom, and I'm interested to see like and compare and contrast other package inserts, because like just between you and me, human beings, if you read something that says this was never tested or evaluated, you're going to believe that that thing was never tested or evaluated, right? Like that's the general public. So I know there's a lot of, vaccine hesitancy, and there's a lot of like, misinformation and all these things going on. But as an informed parent consumer, I think a lot of us, I don't want to speak for everybody, I can only speak for myself, but I think as a parent, I think one of the main things is transparency. And when this goes on, it doesn't make me feel like this is transparent for me. Like it makes me feel kind of like what's going on here. And I don't want to feel that way, which is why I want to continue the conversation so that I can understand what's happening instead of just making a clear cut, like, no, you guys are not, doing a good job over there. I'd like to give you guys the benefit of the doubt and get as much information as possible. Because it does make me feel a little weird, just being honest.
Yeah, I can understand that. And a rigorous process of evaluating vaccines to ensure that they're safe and effective. And I understand that, you're wondering about the specific way that those products are being tested and the specific standards that they need to meet. And in terms of getting into that kind of detail as to why certain testing is required or not, that would be really helpful for me to look into further with our subject matter experts.
Awesome.
Which is why I would greatly appreciate if you wouldn't mind that in the email.
Totally. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I wish you a happy new year, because we're still in the beginning of the new year, and health, happiness, and good fortune. And we'll be in touch via email and via phone. I hope. I look forward to this journey with you of exploration.
Sounds good.
All right.
That would be wonderful. You can even put my attention if you'd like.
Perfect. Okay, man. I love that. Okay, thanks, Matt, for being my contact at the FDA for this, because I feel more comfortable. I have a person that's going to help me on this whole thing here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and I'll definitely keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for that from you.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Have a beautiful night.
You too. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Now, MERCK. I called MERCK. I inquired about the HPV and I inquired about the MMR, because those are two very pushed products, right, on the market, safe and effective. Everybody takes it. Now, from my understanding and what the conversation was, and anyone can listen to it and correct me if I'm wrong, this person flat out says they are studied for efficacy. They are studied to make sure that they work.
Right. So my question though is, like, I talked with my doctor, and this is my daughter's doctor, and I asked these questions, and my doctor referred me to contact the CDC, and then the CDC referred me to the FDA, and then the FDA then in turn referred me to you, Merck manufacturer, right? And the problem that I'm having right now is just like, I want to know about 13.1. 13.1, which you stated to me yesterday, if it's stated not evaluated or studied in the manufacturer package insert, then it hasn't been studied or evaluated.
Right.
Okay. So where can I find the actual testing that, because like, this is the thing. Every single time I talk with my doctor, he says it's safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective. So you told me that the studies that were done on efficacy, which proves that it's effective, correct? Okay. So where are the tests that show that it's safe?
So we did test to see what kind of adverse reactions occurred. And we do have that documented in the prescribing information. The most common reactions were just injection site reactions, including some pain and swelling. That is listed in the prescribing information. As far as any of the other studies that were conducted, that is all in section 14 of the prescribing information under clinical studies.
Okay, but the studies have not been done for studying carcinogens, DNA altering, which is mutagenesis, and then infertility, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So is that not so, like, can I just ask you, so when we're talking about drugs, because I'm just learning and I'm trying to gather all my information here. When I was speaking with the drug department at the FDA, drugs are different than biologics. Vaccines have a different rigorous testing they go through, but 13.1 is not required, but it is required for drugs to go through 13.1. Is that, are you familiar with that?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know if it varies by what exactly the product is, if it's for what it's indicated for.
Right. So just for argument's sake too, like I just grabbed another package insert of a vaccine my child has gotten, which is the MMR. Merck is a manufacturer for it. I pulled up 13.1 that also states in 13.1 mutagenesis, carcinogenic, and infertility has never been studied or evaluated. So that's correct, but efficacy has been studied.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to be clear, and I just really thank you, Olivia, so much for calling me back, because sometimes people just leave you hanging. So really thank you for doing your job and collecting the information and, you know, getting back to me. I really, really appreciate you not leaving me hanging. So thank you so much for your time. And I guess you're saying I should maybe see if my doctor, like, I mean, my doctor should maybe have more information for me.
Yes, and then if they are unable to answer your questions, they can call us here at the National Service Center. And we have a medical team who speaks with physicians and might be able to better answer a question that is coming from a physician.
Okay. But just to be clear, when like a pharmaceutical manufacturer, no matter whether it's you guys or somebody else, if it's written in the package insert, that's the information. If there's more information, it would be directed in the package insert where to go for more of that information. And if it's not there or it says it's not studied, then it has not been studied. Is that safe to say?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Olivia, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. If you have any additional questions, you can always give us a call back. But other than that, I hope you have a great weekend.
Would you mind just repeating the national hotline number again, just so I can have it written down right here on my notepad?
Yeah, absolutely. So our phone number here at the National Service Center is 1-800 672
672
6372.
6372. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, and I hope you have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Remember that guy in Tom Cruise in that movie? Show me the money. Like, I'm over here, show me the studies. I want to see the studies, because when we're in here looking at 13.1 for Flonase, which just goes, I've heard horrible things about Flonase, by the way. I did not use the Flonase. I just looked up the package insert. I'm not endorsing Flonase, just to be clear. Right, something that goes up your nose, right? Something that goes up your nose that they're prescribing for children gets more testing than something that gets injected into you at birth forever, right?
For everyone, right? Like, not everyone may interface with Flonase, right? Only a limited section of the population is going to.
Correct.
Versus these biologics, it's almost 100% of people are going
It's
to have to make that
universal.
choice
It's
at some
universal.
point. Are you going to take it or not? And most people end up taking it.
Right. And the problem is, I think the biggest problem is that, I mean, I know you and I've gotten into conversations, debates, arguments, all of it, where people continuously say that biologics are studied and they're tested and they're safe and they're effective. However, there are no studies ever, not hidden away, not shown, not anything, that demonstrate that they are safe. So the safe and effective part, we just have the effective. And that just means that what they're telling you that this will do is going to possibly do this a percentage that's higher than what they feel at the time, which you don't know because you don't read the package insert. So that's all listed in section 14 of the package insert. Okay, so you have 13.1, then you have 14. Now, there's no secret place for these tests. They're either done or they're not. And legally, if the testing is done, they have to be shared in 13.1. So the testings are either not done at all, or they're done and they're completely covered up and they don't want to share that information, because I'm sure for certain biologics that have been out forever and ever and ever, how are you not collecting that data? How do you not have that by now? We can also take this back 10 years ago or almost 11 years ago. Senator Posey questioned the CDC, Colleen Boyle. Why have these studies not been done? She had no answer. This was all congressional hearings, public. Why does the public not require more for the government bodies that our tax dollars fund? Like calling Judy, calling Maria. All these people had no clue what I was talking about. So all the parents that say they know they did the studies, you didn't, because Judy would have been more well prepared for the call. If more parents were calling, asking the questions that I was asking, Judy would have known how to handle it. The FDA would have known how to handle it. MERCK would have known how to handle it. Nobody knew how to handle my questions, which means the average American, okay, which is 100% of the population. I'm probably 0.0001% of the population that ever would make these calls. Now everyone's going to make them. We're going to make them popular. We're bringing back calling your government bodies that your tax dollars fund, because they work for us. So when
send a letter, my mom always used to. Remember back in the day when your mom,
yes.
I'm gonna send your manager a letter.
Send a letter. Letters are actually better, and I think we know this. We've talked about this before. You don't have to handwrite it. You could type it up, print it out, and just sign it.
Paper trail, right?
Once it goes through the federal mail system, it becomes a federal document. Therefore, they have to respond, whether it's your senator, your congressman, your president, whoever. They don't care about your emails. They don't care about your phone calls. They care about the actual federal documents that could lead a paper trail to a lawsuit, and they're going to answer that, which we have letters to every single entity that I called. I'm following up with a letter going certified, so someone has to sign for it, so I know that they received it. To get these answers from the CDC in writing, from the FDA in writing, and then from MERCK in writing, because that's the only way we're going to get to the bottom of why these biologics that they claim are safe and effective are anything but. They're definitely not safe, because you don't know. Because if they're not studied for carcinogens, mutagenic effects, or infertility, I mean, what's high skyrocket right now? Cancer. What's high skyrocket? DNA altering? We're not really sure. We have no clue what's going on with that. But autoimmune issues, diseases, children being sick nonstop. I mean, I mean, it goes on. And then infertility. I mean, the fertility business is booming just as big as the porn business at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I
changed my
I'm
mind.
at the age, where a lot of people are getting pregnant. So I'm sure there's just a prevalency kind of bias that I'm experiencing, but also I know so many people who are having fertility issues. So even it seems abnormal. Like, I certainly know there were people who've had trouble getting pregnant. For eternity, it's been a thing. but it's, again, I could be biased. I could
I don't think
be,
you're biased. I
but
think
it definitely seems like I know a lot of people who are like in my immediate circle, like
right,
neighbors, like
right, right,
people who are in my family,
right,
or related to people in my family that
right,
are going through these issues using IVF, like spending
right.
tens of thousands of dollars, and just like also the emotional toll of getting pregnant, or when you do finally get pregnant and then going through a miscarriage. Like, these things are devastating.
Right.
um
Right. Yeah.
and so, yeah, just that's a little thing on that.
No, it's
So
important to talk about. It's important to talk about because I mean, me and you, we preach this and talk this all the time on every agenda that's out there is follow the money. If something is making people a ton of money and you look and it's spreading out to like five other industries that are all making money, why would the studies be done? Or if the studies are done, there's so much money and so much business to bury it all under. Everybody's got a vested interest in keeping this under.
and a lot of times too, it's like, oh, they did the studies, but actually, like, are they
There's no
studying the things
studies.
that you think that they're studying, right? Like, sometimes there are studies,
If they're
they
not
just don't.
studying carcinogens or
Well, I know.
or
But even some of those
infertility, who
efficacy
cares?
tests, like when you go in and you look at some of how they do those efficacy tests, some of them aren't even double blind. Like, they're just
None of
claiming it
them are
works.
double blind placebo
Like,
tested.
how can
None of
you
them
even
are double blind placebo tested.
how can
I've
you
offered
claim it has efficacy if
$10,000.
you're not even comparing it to
$10,000.
anything to know? Like, and then to
$10,000.
claim it's effective without understanding the risk assessment. Like, okay, it's effective and for stopping this thing, but like, if it's harming you in all these other ways, like, what's the cost balance ratio? Like, we're not even doing.
Right.
So all these claims are
The
suspect
risk,
when you start to
the
dig just a
benefits,
little bit below the surface.
don't they always say the benefits outweigh the risks, but they don't really know. And if you're a parent with a child that has cancer, or you're a mother that is trying to have a baby and you can't, or I don't know, I'm not going to get into the DNA altering just yet. We're not going in that direction because I have a lot more information to add to that. But I do want to say this is big money. Big money, because then think about it. How many women have to go to therapy now? You got to go to therapy after taking all those hormones. It makes you a mess, right? And then how many people get divorced because they're not getting pregnant? It puts a wear and tear on the relationship. So there's a lot of money at play. However, I think that the point of us doing these videos is to teach and show people how to ask the questions that are going to get you the answers to be that informed consumer, to really be able to get the answers that you're looking for. Because how are you going to be able to make an informed decision ever if you're not even presented with the right information? And we know no parents do not read the package inserts. I say it all the time. Read a package insert. People, it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy, really? Is it? Call the CDC.
Well,
Call.
actually, it's like kind of an open conspiracy that's recorded in your package insert.
Right. And it's also like until you've done the work, until you've actually made the calls or written the letters or read through. I mean, I have a package insert right here. I have one right here. This is on a cream, and let me just share right now: carcinogenesis, mutagenesis, and impairment of fertility. It says it right here. This is for a topical cream. 13.1 right here. It's in every single package insert. And it's not just about the biologics. Like I said before, people should be doing this on everything they put in and on their body, because all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm sick. What happened? It could have been your Z-Pack.
You're right. Like, interacting with things in ways that you didn't know because you didn't
You
fully
have no
inform
clue
yourself.
because the mutagenesis studies are never done. They don't know. They have no clue. Just
I
like when
mean,
they give
to be
children birth control.
fair, I do want to say that I do think that the expectation that your average American does this for every single thing sometimes is unreasonable. Like there's just so, living your everyday life, you have so much going on. But I think also some of that goes to the fact that we're just using too many of these products, right? If like you're using so many products and putting so many things into yourself that you can't keep up with the demand to actually inform yourself what that thing is, then you probably shouldn't be using it, right? And a lot of these things are just because we've gotten so disconnected
Right.
from the natural world,
Right.
right? From Mother Nature's medicine, from everyday things that you can pull out of the ground. And of course, herbs and all these things have all sorts of ways that they interact and do all these things with you. But I feel like you can be connected with it in a much more, for lack of a better term, organic way, right? Whereas like when you get something in the form of a pill or a pink liquid or a spray that goes up your nose, you're totally disconnected from where it came from, how it was created, what it's made up of in its most basic, in like whole form. So I do think there really is, like, even if I pick up a piece of garlic and I don't totally understand all of the different things that garlic can do or all the different ways it can interact with my body, I can hold it, I can touch it, I can feel it. Like there is like some sort of spiritual connection that you can have with these whole things. And maybe that's a little woo woo for some people. Like, I get it. And you should inform yourself about your garlic as well. But I do think that there is a categorical difference between a whole food, something that comes directly from Mother Nature, and something that's been processed in an industrial pharmaceutical setting.
Right. And I do want to say for the record, Western medicine has its place. Okay. Like I am not sitting here advocating that if you have a bacterial infection, you need an antibiotic. Of course, I'm not sitting here saying don't go seek out medical attention because you have a bacterial infection. Or you break your arm or you break your leg and or you have a medical emergency. Always seek medical attention. That's not what I'm saying. And hopefully you have a trusted practitioner and hopefully you find a good practitioner. But what I'm saying is that regularly, what we're doing regularly, the biologics and all the other regular things, I feel like, yes, it is a lot to look up everything. But at what point do we say, hey, this is a lot for us to do as Americans? Like I kept repeating in the call, as a mother to the FDA, I said this, you realize how hard this is to just call and get basic information. Like I said that to all of these entities. This is not something that the average mom and dad working 40 plus hours a week just trying to put food on the table and keep their billing intact, right? This is not something that the average American can take the time to do. Everybody's really busy. Everybody's struggling. So I just feel like it's very unfair, which is why I feel like this is unfair marketing. I feel like it's a big ruse. Is that the right word? Like it's not the lie. It's not
It's a grift. It's a
grift
at the highest level.
It's an opportunist.
Right. Right. And like the thing is that you do have to outsource, right? Like you have to outsource your understanding of things. Like for example, like you have your set of knowledge and through our relationship I've come to trust you, but also like we have that relationship, as you said, like sometimes we are like going back and forth, like we get into like arguments, but like we push each other back and forth. Right. And I feel like that's sort of at the level, like you can create a small economy of scale for outsourcing your information, but it's local enough to where you can look the person directly in the eyes. You can have a real relationship with them. You can ask questions and not be told, you need to take this or you're not allowed to go to school or whatever. Right. And so I do think that there is a way to outsource your information and make it a reasonable task to do. But I think that doing at this national level with these huge agencies, it just opens yourself up to corruption. Like there's no way to do it without it ever being corrupt. You have to keep it closer to home. It has to be more decentralized. And it does take
parents are afraid. that's another thing, like being an activist and having gone to the state house and seeing how a lot of people move with their senators. People are afraid to ask these questions. They're afraid to, like, they think like the senator is like a big scare, and I'm like all in their faces with a package insert, you know, like but and you don't have to be that way like me, like up in people's faces wanting answers, but there is a certain level of intimidation that doctors and politicians put onto the public, especially women, mothers. I've seen it. I've borne witness to it, so I've seen it. It doesn't stop a woman like me, which is very agitating to even other women, which I don't really care. But you got to get to the meat of it. And it's clear they're not sharing what I like to share with my people is the whole enchilada. We know we're not getting the whole enchilada when we're calling these numbers, and I'm being pushed off by everybody, to the point when we got to the end of the MERCK call, she said, we have another line for doctors that they can call if they need. You can go to your doctor and have them call with these questions. Like, they're going to give the doctors different information than they're giving me. Like, there's some kind of language or jargon I'm not going to understand with my body or my health. Only a doctor can understand. That's the other thing that needs to be removed. I have a degree, right? I do my best not to flaunt my BA, my degree, my fancy letters, because everybody is capable of tuning into their body. Every mother is capable of making the correct informed decisions for their child's health without having a stranger that they trust tell them all the live long day what is what and what is going on. We have been removed as mothers, okay, to care for our children. We've been told you won't understand. I've been told you don't know how to read a package insert. Guys, it's not hard to read a package insert. There's not language in here that if I'm not sure about a word, you don't think I can look it up? You don't think I can take a package insert now and type it into AI and just say, can you explain what this means and what that means? If, like, I haven't ever done that, but you can do that now. Like, there's no excuse to tell the average mind without a college education or degree in science or medicine that 13.1 is a study, and if it's empty in the package insert, that means the study wasn't freaking done. And anyone who wants to argue that, like, let's go, let's argue it. Let's do a three-way call. Anybody who wants to argue, we'll call the CDC and the FDA and the manufacturer together. We'll call them together and I'll walk you through it so you can see that they're lying to us. They're lying to us, and there's no such thing as any of this ever being safe and effective. And it's up to us, the mothers, up to us, the parents, to make these calls. I did have somebody say, oh, we made these calls years ago in the movement, and it's like, nobody's ever called and got them to admit that vaccines, nobody's ever called and got them to admit that biologics are studied for efficacy but not safety. I flat out said to her, so are you telling me that this product is studied for efficacy and not safety? And she said, that's right.
The studies have not been done for studying carcinogens, DNA altering, which is mutagenesis, and then infertility, correct?
Correct.
I didn't do this research. You're the one who took the time to fall down the rabbit hole, to make the phone calls, to document everything. And I'm very grateful that you came to me to share this information, to get it out there, to try to inform more people. So I'm just super grateful for that, and for you, and for our friendship, and for your business, right? Queen Bee's Pharmacy, because it gives us actual alternative options and in a local way. So, I really plug things that I really trust and that I really use. QueenBeesPharmacy.com. Make sure you guys go and support Elizabeth. Use my code TeachingLiberty. It'll save you 15% off. And of course, follow both of us on social media. Liz is always making great posts about these things in more bite-sized form and perhaps easier to share for some of your friends who might not be ready for this whole long, deep dive rabbit hole video. So there's that. Is there anything else you want to add before
I
we get
just
out of
want to
here, Liz?
say, anyone that takes the time to watch this, thank you. Whether you agree or not is really not the point of this. I think this is really just to plant a seed, which I think we're good at planting seeds. I feel confident that this will help save someone out there. It may give somebody the strength to speak up, which is what my hope is. My hope is to help others find their voice and not be scared to speak out. However, you want to be. You want to be aggressive like me. You want to move with let's see, curiosity and questioning, which is really, really important. You don't have to move like me, but the questions have to be asked, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to come together as parents to protect our children. We have to demand better.
Yeah, we have to. And that's why I'm super appreciative of you doing this work. I'm excited for our series that's going to be more bite-sized videos where we actually take out package inserts, we read through them, we make them more accessible, we give people sort of that confidence, right? Because we have to be confident at something, this is a matter of
You have to
time on
practice.
task. The more time you spend with right. And so hopefully those videos will provide people that space that they need to have the practice, to ask the questions. So look out for that series coming very soon. It's going to be right here on my YouTube channel, Teaching Liberty. So make sure you're subscribed. And like I said, we're both over on Instagram. I know you're on Facebook as well. So all those links are in the description down below. Leave your questions in the comments. We'll try to get back to those either directly by responding to you, or maybe we'll do a whole video if it's something that warrants a longer response. So we appreciate you. We love your beautiful faces. And until next time, live free.
Come on.